Hey everybody, tonight's video is called The Lord versus the Priest and People. And tonight we continue our pass-through study here in the book of Hosea, where we're going to be looking at the foolishness and trusting in man's deliverance. And so we are in Hosea chapter 5 tonight, and this should be a pretty quick moving video. The wrap-up's very short, so it'll probably be a 15-minute or less again. And tonight we're looking at the foolishness of trusting in man's deliverance. So Hosea chapter 5 verse 1 through 3 says, "Hear this, O priests, take heed, O house of Israel. Give ear, O house of the king. For yours is the judgment, because you have been a snare to Mizpah and a net spread on Tabor. The revolters are deeply involved in slaughter, though I rebuke them all. I know Ephraim, and Israel is not hidden from me. For now, O Ephraim, you commit harlotry. Israel is defiled." So Hosea addressed the priests, the people, the royal family. The three imperatives demand attention. And the religious and the civil leaders had entrapped the people, as coming up in chapter 6 verse 9 and Hosea chapter 7 verse 7. In Mizpah of Gilead, lying east of the Jordan, seen back in the book of Judges chapter 10 verse 17 and Judges 11:29, and Tabor, southwest of the Sea of Galilee, were likely places for false worship. And the fate of the northern kingdom is bound up with that of its leaders. And the priests are responsible to teach the law, as we discussed back in the last chapter, and the royal house is responsible for administering justice. And the leaders have trapped their foolish subjects. And Tabor is seen back in the book of Judges as well, in chapter 4 verse 6, as a famous mountain site located on the northeast edge of the Jezreel Valley. And these and other northern sites have become high places of pagan cult of Baal in Hosea's day. And the real tragedy of Israel's sin wasn't so much that they stumbled, but that they did not respond to God's rebuke when they did stumble. In verse 4 and 5 says, "They do not direct their deeds toward God. They do not direct their deeds toward turning to their God. For the spirit of harlotry is in their midst, and they do not know the Lord. The pride of Israel testifies to his face. Therefore Israel and Ephraim stumble in their iniquity. Judah also stumbles with them." So they know not the Lord truly, nor can they return or repent, as Jeremiah 13:23 speaks of. And Israel's pride and idolatry provided self-incrimination. And the sins of the people testify against them in the Lord's covenant lawsuit against his people. And all rebellion, we should take out of this, all rebellion is centered on pride. I mean, just look at what's going on in the month of June. It's really just to take pride in their rebellion against God's created order. In verse 6 and 7, "With their flocks and herds they shall go out to seek the Lord, and they will not find him. He has withdrawn himself from them. They have dwelt treacherously with the Lord, for they have begotten pagan children. Now a new moon shall devour them in their heritage." So her religious sacrifices and monthly festivals no longer brought divine favor, only judgment that God has withdrawn himself from them. And like an unfaithful wife and mother, Israel is given birth to children who are literally and religiously illegitimate. And in many ways today, people think that they're seeking God, but when they really are not seeking God. And sin brings a wall between us and God, where it may feel that God has withdrawn himself from us, but really we have allowed this wall to come between our fellowship with God. In verse 8 and 9 says, blow the ram's horn in Gibeah, the trumpet in Ramah. Cry aloud at Beth-aven. Look behind you, O Benjamin. Ephraim shall be desolate in the day of rebuke. Among the tribes of Israel I will make known what is sure. So the enemy was already upon them, and therefore her watchmen were to surround the alarm, as seen in Numbers chapter 10, verse 9. And Gibeah and Ramah were located on Judah's northern border with Israel. And Beth-aven, also known as Bethel, was situated in southern Israel. And all three were strategic defense cities, and Benjamin was used to refer to the whole southern kingdom. And because God has withdrawn himself from them, they would find no help or refuge when the Assyrian armies attack, and they would be made desolate. In verse 10 and 11, the princes of Judah are like those who remove a landmark. I will pour out my wrath on them like water. Ephraim is oppressed and broken in judgment, because he willingly walked by a human precept. So boundaries marked by stones could easily be moved at night, and moving them was equivalent to stealing the land from a neighbor, as seen in the Mosaic law in Deuteronomy 19:14, Deuteronomy 27:17, Proverbs 22:28, and Proverbs 23 verse 10. And even worse, Israelite leaders were moving spiritual lines established by God. And the political leaders of Judah were corrupt, and they were cheaters. And Judah may not have been bad as Israel, but they still had to repent. And someone from Judah may have felt bigger if they read Hosea's prophecy on the north's rebuke. But Hosea is used by God to remind Judah that she has her own sin to deal with, and Ephraim sinned by living by man's standards and opinions rather than God's. Verse 12, therefore I will be like Ephraim, like a moth, to the house of Judah like rottenness. So God will be destructive to Israel, and God will bring unpleasant decay upon sinful Ephraim and Judah. And if you didn't know, moth eats garments, and dry rot destroys the timbers of a building. And so it shows that they won't be blessed, nor will they increase. In verse 13, when Ephraim saw his sickness, and Judah saw his wound, then Ephraim went to Assyria and went to King Jerob, yet he cannot cure you, nor heal you of your wound. So Jerob means warrior and refers to the king of Assyria, to whom Israel and later Judah turned to help, as seen back in 2 Kings 15, verse 19 and 20, and 2 Kings 16, verse 5 through 9. And instead of turning to the Lord for healing from their enemy, they turned to Assyria. In verse 14 and 15, to finish the chapter, says, nor I will be like a lion to Ephraim, and like a young lion to the house of Judah. Even I will tear them and go away. I will take them away, and no one shall rescue. I will return again to my place till they acknowledge their offense. Then they will seek my face. In their affliction they will earnestly seek me. So foreign assistance would be of no value, since the Lord was orchestrating punishment at the hands of the Assyrians, and he would remove himself till they acknowledged their offense and seek his face. And they would be like prey before a powerful lion, aka the Lord, also seen in the book of Amos chapter 1 verse 2 and Amos chapter 3 verse 8. And so in wrath, God would remove his saving presence from the people until they repented, truly repented. And the goal wasn't destruction through Hosea's message, but restoration. And sadly for most, it is often only an affliction is when we earnestly seek the Lord. And why not seek the Lord now before affliction forces you to? That is a challenge point as we come to the wrap up here today. And so tonight we look at Israel's sinful idolatry, where Israel's leaders are rebuked for the sinful state of the nation. And verse 4 through 9 showed Israel's double desolation. Verse 10 through 13 shows Israel and Judah look to man's wisdom for deliverance. And the chapter ends with God's judgment and the goal behind it. And that's going to wrap up our study tonight. We'll see you next as we look at the call to return to the Lord. So I hope that you have a great rest of your evening. God bless, and we'll see you again next time to be announced.